Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We are witnessing a very different phenomenon, and we are reminded of what happened years back when Mao instituted a cultural revolution. And I feel that a new cultural revolution is being thrust. There are two types of revolution: the revolution which is mass based, and the revolution which are manipulated and directed by forces outside that revolution. And the new revolution that is coming, rather, we can see the signs already there in America, in Canada, in Europe, whole of it. Mercifully, Africa, Middle East, and Asia are still not infected. And I call it infection, which is almost an epidemic. And this new revolution, I don't know whether to call it a revolution or to call it a step towards barbarism and anarchy, a step towards dark ages, a step towards saying goodbye to rationality. And this revolution is masked, is wearing a veil, a burqa of racism, anti-racist. Humanism rather is a burqa, and anti-racism is the agenda. But the reality is different. Today morning, I read the news that the New York mayor has ordered that the funds given to police should be diverted from police towards social activities. Well, it seems to be good until we analyze it. Minneapolis Council has decided to close down the police department. Beautiful. And then do what? Then they'll think of something new, something better. So first demolish, and then the reconstruction would be thought of later on. A typical anarchist attitude. First destroy, destroy, destroy. And after you have destroyed, then think of calling. Now let's first look at one aspect which everybody is ignoring. Everybody. And that's the most dangerous one. The children today in America and in Europe, but more especially in America, are being encouraged to speak against the parents. Do you see the shades of Stalin there? Yes, I do. The only thing was Stalin was at least honest to say that he's a dictator. But these new tin pot dictators call themselves Democrats. And I was amazed when I saw on the television children 10 years old and 15 years old condemning their parents for not supporting these protests. One 15-year-old girl was weeping inconsolably that her parents are guilty of the white privileges. If I ask her, would she like to lead a life in a ghetto? She would not. But she is being brainwashed. A 10-year-old child is using four-letter words to describe his mom because his mom did not permit him to come to the demonstration. So the family life is being disrupted. Children are being converted into jihadis. On the one side by the Middle East, on the other side in America itself. Here the jihad is different. Here the jihad is against Trump, against the Republican Party, against the values of life, against family life. The mainstay of family civilization is the family. And the family is sought to be fractured by this revolution. That's the first thing, which people are not talking about, but which is of extreme concern. The second is the freedom of speech. If you are not with us, you are against us, is an old adage. But here, if you are not with us, then you are our enemy. Imagine the high priest of the freedom of expression and the free speech, New York Times, makes its opinion editor go forcibly. He was asked to resign, and he resigned. And his fault that he published an alternate view. Senator Tim Cotton, a senator, wrote an article, op-ed. It was published, and it agreed with President Trump that he has a right to call the military, which I had discussed earlier. The history is there. Historically, everybody has president has called the army to help and aid and assist, and there's law, Instruction Act, which permits him to do it without seeking the concurrence of the province, the state. Anyway, NYT published that article, and there was a lot of noise, and the editor has to go. So much for the freedom of expression and the Second Amendment. So either you give views which are echoes of mine views, or you keep shut. Now, is that a way you conduct a debate? Is that a way you conduct decent, proper discourse? If that is it, then I better not say anything for the freedom of speech. Then I better not allude with reference to the Second Amendment. So the family is being disrupted. The free press is supposed only to be free as far as ideas commensurate with their ideas are propagated. Shades of communism, shades of totalitarianism, shades of dictatorship. And we call that democracy. We call that equality. We call that honest, sincere discourse. And people who are promoting it, apparently all of them have been lauded as champions of freedom. Unfortunately, they have an agenda and they are living up to that agenda. Now comes the talk of defunding the police and, in fact, removing the structure of police. That's the most crucial part, which is a sure road to anarchy. Now you defund the police. When you defund the police, there are two results. Either the police becomes ineffective, sterile, because it will take away its powers. Without money, you can't work. So they defund it. And then use it for what? On the welfare activities. As if welfare activities are not being there at all at present. There are. And a huge chunk of money is spent on the welfare activities. And those welfare activities are, in fact, sure roads to perdition. I have always say this social welfare, the so-called welfare activities are not welfare activities. They are the roots to prostitution, gun violence, drug abuse. Anyway, that's a different topic that we took up some time back, and I don't want to repeat it. But the fact is there by defunding the police, and then what Minneapolis has said, stop policing altogether. We'll think of some way, some other way. Now, if you don't police, why was there the need to set up a police? Have we ever thought of it? It was that by nature, human beings lack self-discipline. They have to be disciplined by an outside force. So laws have to be made for a structured social system. I agree laws can be wrong at times, but then the laws need to be amended. I fully agree that the police officers are human beings, they can go out of bounds. Then check them, punish them if they're wrong. But to destroy the very structure is stupid. It is just like saying that this house that you have built, air doesn't come in, or the sunlight doesn't come in, so instead of rectifying it, you want to demolish the house. That's not done. But that's what they're doing. And they're doing it with a purpose, as I said, the bastions of proper society are a family life and a well ordered administrative system. You are destroying the family and the family life and destroying the structured social system. The result, anarchy, and the result, gundaism, gangsterism, drugs, rapes, murder. And those rapes and murder and looting, unlimited, we have seen in USA this time when the people came to protest and went away with televisions and fridges and everything, and people were looted. And pray, what happened then? Who were not guilty? And then, they said this man was innocent. Today he is, George Floyd, is being made to be a saint. Do you know his background? In 1998, he was sent to jail for 10 months for armed robbery. 4 years passed. He started peddling cocaine and was sent for 8 months to jail again. 2 years passed. Another drug case proved and sent to jail for 10 months. 2005, another case and sent to jail for another 10 months. 2007, armed robbery of a pregnant woman alone in her home and sent to jail for 5 years. Even when he died, he was high on what? Meth. Maybe he was getting ready to drive a car. And being high on meth, maybe kill a child. So this is a man. Again, I agree that nobody has the right to kill him. Least of all the protectors of law and order. So they are being punished. But how can you destroy the whole system for the fault of one person? And that is where it is. Now, activists who have long sought to cut law enforcement, and they are finding unprecedented wave in support of their ideas. And the beauty is that this wave is being created as the whole media has been manipulated and conditioned to work that way. And then this disinvestment. What does it mean for police? Defunding the enforcement, taking money away from jails and the police, investing them in the services is not going to be helpful because already we are spending much more money on that. And don't forget, in the last 4 decades, American cost of policing has tripled and is now $115 billion. You want to cut it? Fine. But do you know the cost of the welfare now today? It is more than $800 billion. So you cut even $100 billion and add it. It's not going to affect welfare, but it will destroy your social structure. And that is the unfortunate part. As a matter of fact, this investment would be self-defeating. When the mayor of LA said he would cut 150 million from the police, just 2 days, when he had asked the city budget to increase it by 7%. So their desire to cut is not because of the real need, but only to pay homage to the populist agreement or the populist vision, which is wrong. So The whole society sought to be molded by this so called revolution, which has shades of Mao's revolution. Stalin and Mao must be up there in the skies, laughing in glee, how the American Uncle Joe is coming to their ideas. Their concepts are finding acceptance in people like Joe Biden, Obama, all Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, and all of them. And not only that, but in the so called intelligentsia, the media, the papers like NYT and Wall Street, the purveyors of the public opinion like CNN and others. So the whole thing smacks of a persistent, well organized gang, the gang which wants to take over the civilized society and wreck it from within so that anarchy comes back. Are we back to the tribal age and to the dark ages? That's what it looks like. Are we bidding goodbye to the age of Renaissance, reason, logic, and be swayed by the pedagogues? Looks like that. I feel bad about the fate of the Homo sapiens. I feel sad at what man has done to himself. I feel dejected at the loss of the reasoning power and the logical thought. I feel dejected, despondent, sad, and I'm angered that you are tolerating all that. You're not opening your eyes, you're not reasoning, you are not looking through the veneer of the so called revolution, which is nothing but a tornado to destroy what you have built in 3,000 years, 2,100 years of this history, and 1,000 years prior to that. Is this what saviors like Aristotle and Socrates, Hobbes and Voltaire, Hugo and Chanka worked for? Is that what the founder fathers of the American civilization and American independence and democracy thought of? Would Patrick be very happy? Would Andrew Jackson, would Madison, George Washington be laughing with glee? Well, this is what the country they want to build. And is this an example? Or rather, is it not succumbing to what Stalin or Mao did? Are we not following the creed of the dictators, anarchists, and anti humanists? It's up to you to decide which road to take. You are at the crossroads. It's for you to decide whether you continue to live as human beings or be degraded to the level of animals to be herded by the shepherds who may deem what they deem fit. Its situation is dicey. Let's see how the public accepts it. Thank you.